Story Chat with John Fornoff, the art and passion of storytelling. Here's your host, Brian Bullabush.
All right, so big ideas before. So I'm not completely going in blind. What's all that about?
Well, for me, the big idea, I like to speak at different conferences. I teach networking in a variety of conferences, but I work with the music industry, I work with the film industry, and I work with the publishing industry. But those three industries very seldom talk to each other. They all stay within their own group. But I've learned through being connected in every group and making friends in every group that they have a really intense need to start communicating. So I would go to like a publishing conference. They're like, oh, I'd love it if my book could become a movie. That'd be great. And I was like, well, I happen to know some really talented screenwriters, Marshall Younger and Torry Martin would be able to do that. But it depends on what the genre is too, because I know a lot of really talented screenwriters who are much better at sci-fi, if that was the genre you're looking at, or action or whatever. So I would connect them to a potential screenwriter. Then I would meet these filmmakers and they're like, well, we need to find other ways to make money off of the movie. So we're trying to create some ancillary products. So I'm like, what about a novelization of your screenplay? Because I have a variety of really talented best-selling authors who do that, and in different genres, who already have their platforms, so they would be bringing their audience to your film. Yeah, let me make that connection for you. And then I'll go to another film conference. They're like, oh, our budget is so-and-so, and we're trying to get some original music, but our budget is like, I happen to teach press kits on a budget and the secrets of free publicity to new bands and singers who are starting out in the gospel music industry. I'll bet some of them would be very eager to be a part of their first soundtrack and would cut you a deal on the first one, but the second one you have to pay for. So let's think of making introductions for some of those musicians to have their work in your films. So it's a big idea that way. But then I like to talk with authors about how to get the big idea. What are the things they need to consider so that they can go into screenplays, creating ancillary product in their book to get the really big idea. And so there's certain secrets to that.
We want to get this on the
I was like, you're just reeling it. I was just asking general. No.
Well,
I mean, I could just cut that out. We could just be going.
Hello,
really everyone. Welcome to Story Chat. Kind of an unusual beginning today.
Dude, just like this, just let it go. This is me. This is how.
Let's do it. Yeah. So, John, we got a very special guest on who's been talking for the beginning of this episode.
Yes. We have. By the way, I think our last podcast we did, we had we were waiting at the door for the very special guest to come in, and he didn't come in yet because he's here now with us. Woo! We are so excited to have Mr. Torry Martin with us. Woohoo! And Torry is, I have to look through all his things he does. So he's an actor, he is a writer, he's a comedian, and he's my friend. It's like, I love this guy. And we worked together on Adventures in Odyssey. This is the father.
Tell him that. Tell about how we met.
Oh my goodness, we met at Adventures in Odyssey. Is my very first show that I got to see recorded. It was
in Los Angeles.
What? Yeah, it was in Los Angeles. So they flew me out, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I still do that today. I still geek out with like, oh my goodness. So I'm in the recording studio.
I'm more manly and tend to go, oh my goodness.
You do that much better than I do, Torry. There's Katie Lee. There's Brendan Gillis. It's amazing.
He played Reuben Kincaid on the Partridge Family. Dave
Madden, yes. Dave Madden. Will Ryan playing Eugene. And then I meet Torry, and we're both new, and we're just like, this is pretty cool. And he wrote a show called
I don't know.
I don't know. It's a great show. It was a BTV show, I think.
BTV Forgiveness.
There you go. And actually, I got to be in that one. I got to play like a radio announcer or something. I forget. But anyway, it was we were just geeking out, having fun. And then we had writers meetings after that, where we got together with Torry and the rest of the team. We had a blast putting
That was a
together.
lot of fun. Do you know what I remember most about that recording episode where we first met was meeting Dave. What is his last name?
Dave Arnold.
No,
Dave
Ruben.
Madden. Dave
Madden. Yeah, I was
Bernard,
so
right?
awestruck.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm socially awkward. You know, I'm socially awkward. And I get intimidated really easily. I didn't know what to say to him. And so we're there in the hallway for just a second. I was like, "Can I have Season Day's number?" He goes, "No."
Yeah, I had a crush on her
only
too.
communication I had with him, really.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, I had a crush. Yeah, it's funny. You meet these famous people and you have all these like amazing things you're going to say to them. I met Dallas Jenkins at Kappa Studios there, and I had my fish in the microwave, right? And he was right there next to me waiting to get in the microwave. And here's my famous conversation I had with Dallas Jenkins. My opportunity to talk with Dallas Jenkins, the guy that does The Chosen. I said, yeah, my fish will be ready in a moment.
Oh my
Quote,
God.
unquote, John Fornoff said this to Dallas Jenkins. They have a plaque on the wall. This is what it's so embarrassing. My fish is in the microwave? Couldn't I have said, great job with The Chosen. I love what you're doing. Anything I do. No, I said my fish is in the microwave. Oy vey. Anyway.
I love that you say oy vey. I say that all the time. And I have those embarrassing moments too. Remember in my book of Moose Men, I talked about I was living with my best friend in this remote cabin in Alaska. And wanted the presence of a woman at the Last Frontier Christian Bookstore was throwing out this cardboard cutout of Amy Grant.
Yes.
I can't even remember what album it was, but they were going to throw it away. And I was like, oh, can I have it? I'd like a woman's presence in my cabin. So I had this cardboard cutout of Amy Grant in my cabin for a good year. Then I end up going to Christian Artists. That's where I started and won the grand prize and get introduced on the stage by Point of Grace, but in the green room, I'm in the green room with the actual Amy Grant.
Not the cardboard cutout, the real one.
No, and the only thing
one, yeah.
I could think to say to her was, "Hi, I'm Torry Martin. You look much thinner in cardboard." And she said, "Thanks." That was my only interaction with Amy Grant. That was it. You look much thinner in cardboard. My fish is in the microwave.
What?
We'd be a great.
You guys should write a book. Famous things I said to celebrities.
Well, I want to show you guys something. Torry came here to Valdosta. By the way, you are welcome to come anytime, and we'll show you around the movie studios. We're starting a new movie studio here, TV sound stages, recording studio in a bank, which is really cool, called the Sound Bank. But you're welcome to come anytime. Torry came down, and it was such a blast to have Torry with us. And I took Torry to my place, where I am now, and I walked into I don't have a living room. I didn't want just a living room. I wanted a living adventure room. I wanted a room where you could just like a sense of adventure, like Indiana Jones just walked out the door kind of thing. And so I told Torry my vision for it. I showed him my desk.
Well, I've got to say, first of all, it's really cool because you have that antique phone and that green lamp.
Yes.
And then you've got the letter, the information, the Indiana Jones stuff in the
journal. Yes.
Wrapped up. So
I had this stuff there because I wanted to feel like Indiana Jones just stepped out. But I said, you know what I want, Torry? I want like an Indiana Jones hat, like his jacket, maybe a hat rack. I didn't mention lanterns, by the way, but I was thinking in the back of my mind, lanterns, and you read that in the back of my mind. I don't know how you did that, but I want a globe, not just a globe, a glowing globe, like a one that just lights up from the inside. I need a 1940s radio kind of feel and just some 1940s stuff, like just stuff like that. So you tell the story now, Torry. Go ahead.
Well, as you were sharing that, I was making mental ticks. I'm like, got it. And it's all in storage, and I'm so tired of dusting it. Next time I come here, I'm going to bring that stuff to you. But I was like, oh, I've got some of that. So I went home, and I got all that stuff together. And then found out that I was going to be coming back down in a week. So I'm like, ooh, it's going to be Christmas, because it was right before Christmas. It's going to be Christmas for John. But how can I pull this off without being weird, like walking in, like, because I didn't want the first thing to say, what's with all the boxes? I asked you to drop by, not move in.
Uh-huh.
You know? So I brought it there, but John wasn't there, and he's like, "Hey, the door." Text came in. The door's unlocked. Go in and make yourself at home. I should be home in about 10 minutes. And I'm like, "Oh, that's fine." In. So I'm running, getting everything out of the truck, plugging in the light, putting up the coat rack. I had the leather jacket that I had ordered and never worn from 20 years ago in Alaska is when I got that.
Ooh.
Perfect jacket. And I had just found the Indiana Jones official Lucasfilm hat like 2 weeks before. And I was like, oh, it's got to go to John. This is God's plan. So I had it all set up, and then I got the absolute joy of being done right when John pulled up, walking outside and going, "Welcome home." And he came in and he was walking, he wasn't sure what to make of it at first, but he's looking around and it's all set up. Like, it was the most rewarding thing for me to do. I think I got more out of it than John did, because
Oh,
you are someone who deserves that. Your kindness, your heart for others. So it was a magical opportunity for me to do the same back for you on behalf of all of the people you've already done that for.
Torry, that man, thank you for saying that. That man, that means wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. Thank
You're
you. Thank you.
welcome. I lived off of that moment. You know, it is truly better to give than to receive, I believe.
It is such a
Because when you
blast.
give, you don't have
Yeah.
to dust it anymore.
This is true. Well, Torry also, he was Santa. Torry, you were Santa, an amazing Santa. So he was like a personal Santa for me. So he comes in the door. He comes to the door. He says, "Welcome home." So he's at the door. I come in, okay, and then I walk in. I'll kind of recreate what happened. So this was my desk that I had already. This is the desk. By the way, what's this relate to Story Chat? This is like, find a
It's
place
not a beautiful desk.
that inspires you.
It's
You know,
gorgeous.
get some stuff that inspires you. Just Kathy Buchanan told me this: surround yourself by stuff that inspires you to do great art. So here's the 1940s desk, which I got, and the 1940s phone right here, and here's the green lamp. That's where he started in the clock. And Torry got excited about that, and I'll show you what he brought to the table. This is amazing. Okay, this really cool clock here, which is really cool. And then a 1940s radio. It's a repro, but it's like it looks like the real. It's awesome.
That's really cool.
A globe that lights up. Come on, and look at this. That's Indiana Jones's hat. I mean, it's his hat. Like, if you look inside, there's like an inscription inside. It's like official Indiana Jones in there. It's like
Lucasfilm.
And yeah, Lucasfilm. And here's his jacket.
And the
And
coat
then
rack.
there's like a lantern and I mean, I was just so blessed. And then this eagle here and some bookends over here. And it's just like, I was just like blessed and blessed and blessed and blessed.
Have you been using that blessing journal?
Not yet. I just thought of it today, but I've been so blessed. I haven't had time to put them all in there.
And the adventure sign behind you.
The adventure sign. Oh, I'm gonna show you this. So this is my living adventure room. And so Torry got this twinkle in his eyes. He says, "Yep, I get the vibe."
Well, you said,
look.
I just want everything to be about an adventure when I come in here. And I had that sign. I brought
That's
that
cool.
too.
My daughter, by the way, got me this a compass here, and it says
Ooh.
"Adventure awaits."
That is awesome.
They're really cool.
When did she get you that?
Like right at Christmas.
Oh,
I can't
that's
wait to get this for you, Dad. So
That's
that was
so
cool.
cool.
Next to my lantern and stuff. So this stuff just inspires me in writing. So it's important, like, get stuff that inspires you. Torry, can you really quick just point out some really cool stuff around your place that inspires you?
Well, I like comic books and superheroes, so I've got a lot of superhero stuff. I even have I don't know if you can see it right here. Oh, now you're gonna see my mess. But do you see this? This is from the original Batman TV show, and you lift the head and you flip.
Oh, wow.
Turns all the
Come
lights.
Come on! How'd you get this?
That's
awesome?
amazing. I love that.
It's one of my favorite things.
Well, I know what I'm getting my wife next Christmas.
Well, now I'm getting
Adam West
art with all of this superhero stuff now. I think I've outgrown it. By the way, John, you really need to get our friend Will to do a photo shoot of you at your desk there in that
Oh my
garb.
goodness, that's a
That
great
should
idea.
be your total author picture.
Oh my goodness.
And your speaking picture for conferences that you go to.
That is, what a great idea. Thank you. Oh, brilliant. Torry walked in, he says, this is like a movie set right here. Yeah. And so thank you. That's a great idea. Torry is a man of great ideas, which, segue coming. There's a segue. Watch this. Watch it, Torry. You're going to be amazed. Watch this segue.
Okay.
Torry is a man of great ideas, you can say, as you can see here. And so actually, Torry would love to talk about what's the big idea.
But we already did.
Oh, we did.
Oh, we gotta keep talking about it.
Okay. Well,
is that like, did we record that though, or is that?
Oh yeah, no, we got it. We got it.
We got it. Oh, so we can do that. Okay. So
this is your first ADHD interview, live, organic. It happens the way it happens. We're not polishing anything for anybody. We don't dust here.
Yeah.
So we're going to insert that later. Insert a big idea. Okay, great. So we already did that. Thank you very much.
You could even, I thought we were just running right with it. But to expound a little bit more on what I was saying about creating the big idea, for people when they're writing their books, authors writing the books, I want them to think of their books with that screenplay in mind and the screenplay rules, which means for writers, when you're setting your book in a certain location, you'd like it to become a series, you need to be aware of the film incentives for each state, which will increase the likelihood of your film actually being produced there. Like Georgia has a very, very good film incentive there, which is why Marvel has their studios there. And, Canada, come on, they've got a great incentive. So a lot of people are up there. Florida has good film incentives. So you need to pick states with the best film incentives if you really want it to be turned into a film, and write with specific locations that you've seen that inspire you in mind, because you can actually work out an agreement to help the film people by talking to people. I really like this particular restaurant or this particular scenic place or this particular story. Say, I'd like to include this in my book. They love any opportunity there is for publicity for their, and it's a big help to be able to do that. But also it helps you to set up that location agreement when filming comes, because then you're able to take your book to film producers and go, the locations are all set in specific places that we already have agreements with for filming, and they just want their publicity for their business. So it's a cross benefit. And then again, writing with specific music in mind that you would like to incorporate, or if you have musicians who have a certain song, or you can maybe even write the lyrics of the song that could then be adapted, and creating ancillary product. I mean, come on, part of the success for the Hunger Games is all that Hunger Game jewelry. The success for, what was it, Kendrick's The Love Story, the Love Dare Challenge book?
Oh, yes. You're right.
What a fantastic ancillary product. Courageous. They have that Courageous vow that the fathers did that was sold at all the bookstores. Ancillary product. And you, as a writer, you're going to make more money off of the ancillary product that you incorporate into the screenplay, whether you're writing it for yourself or work for hire for somebody else. You retain the intellectual rights to that ancillary product. That is where you make more money than you ever would for creating the screenplay.
And that's what I think. I think George Lucas, I think he was kind of the guy to push that forward, because I think he got paid very little for the original Star Wars, but he went, okay, I want like 5% of merchandise rights. He just wanted 5%. And I think he got bupkis for actually directing the thing, but the man made bank off of the toys that came out of the movie and the hit that it was. The guy was genius in that regard.
So you can create a piece of jewelry, you can create a certain object, even a framed poem that your character writes. Anything like that is ancillary product.
That's good. That's
merchandising
with a famous, with your character's favorite quote on it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you said the big idea occurs when we talk about ancillary products like that, but also what about as far as the big idea when you're writing? Like how's that applied to, there's a different sense of big idea for that too. Like when you're writing, what's the big idea when you're writing a story, and how does that connect? Or we can talk about networking. That's another big idea concept. You've got several big ideas we can talk about, wherever you want to go.
Well, I'm not sure. It's up to you guys. You know your audience. I don't know your audience.
Oh, yeah, they're amazing. You know what? Let's talk about networking a little bit. You were like a master networker and connector. What advice would you have for writers that they're just a lot of, it's not, I mean, some writers are more introspective kind of thing, and they're not like, but let's say I'm an introspective writer, okay? Which I know is hard to imagine, but anyway, let's say I am introspective and I need to get out there. Tell me, how do I get out of my shell? How do I connect with people? What is the big idea for me to get out of my, it's just me and my story mode, and to connect with others and network?
See, my approach to networking is always different. It is very different. And it basically revolves around two words: others first.
Oh,
that's it. Others
wow.
first.
Wow.
And because I feel so ill qualified, even sometimes when people say, "Oh, he's an author," I'm like, "Oh, I'm not really. I'm just a hippie with a keyboard." Authors feels like, you know what I mean? You don't see yourself as that. I'm Torry Martin from Walmart, the candy aisle, to be specific. I am fascinated by other people. A lot of the characters I create in my stories are based on people that I've met. So I find, for me, with my own social awkwardness, that the easiest thing to remove pressure from me is to show more interest in others and ask questions about them, but I'm sincerely interested. And the more you learn, I think everybody goes into these conferences and these social situations feeling awkward and apprehensive, and it feels so weird to be talking about yourself and going, "Hi, I'm Torry Martin. I've written for this, or I do that." It just feels so phony and just heck.
Especially for me, when I say I'm Torry Martin, it sounds phony when I say it. I agree with you. Yes.
You're too young.
I've never said it, so.
You're too pretty to be Torry Martin. But yeah, so I like, and it helps set me at ease, because I don't, now the pressure isn't on me. All I'm doing is asking questions of other people. I always tell people, when you go to those conferences, be the first person in the class and introduce yourself to the person next to you. They are just as full of anxiety as you are, and ask them questions, simple questions like, "So what are you here for? What genre are you writing? What are you hoping to get out of the conference? Maybe I know some people and can make some introductions." And then, rather than them going, "Hi, my name is this," they're like, "Oh, somebody asked? Oh, well, we can talk about that much more comfortably. Oh, I'm a writer from Alaska. I'm trying to get into this." Now, suddenly, you're the person in charge in that classroom, because the next person who comes in feeling socially awkward, you go, "Hi, I'm Torry Martin. I'm a write comedy and stuff, and this is Jane Howard, and she is here. She's doing," so you know her name and you're talking about her, and then they start to engage. And the more interested you are in others, then you're just a person facilitating the introductions and remembering what everybody does. And it kind of takes all the pressure off you. Then you just get the joy of introducing people to each other. My personal approach, though, I think the thing that I'm most known for is networking, is my time tithe, which is the first 10 minutes of every day I spend promoting anybody else but myself. Wow. I do not promote myself. I don't do that social media thing. It feels phony to me. But I grew up as a kid without any friends, overweight, bullied, and everything. And when I have real friends, I could talk about my friends until I'm blue in the face. And so I'll meet filmmakers and publishers and musicians, and because I know so many crew people who are going from one film to another on the films that I work on, I'll hear from one friend who says, "Hey, we're looking for somebody who can do this." "Oh, I know a great gaffer. I know a great first AD, Adam Drake, who is now working on The Chosen, who I introduced to Dallas." And he's their first AD, and he's also been the first AD for the Kendricks. And yet that introduction to him came from my dentist office, where my dentist assistant knew that I mentored people and that I did this time type thing. And she said, there's this kid at my church whose dad goes to our church who just went to a 3-month film thing in Los Angeles and wants to get into the network. I know you do networking industry stuff. Would you meet him and make some introductions? I'm like, I'd be happy to. So I started taking Adam along with me to conferences that I was booked at. You know how they always put us in a big room with 2 queen-size beds? And that other bed just sits there all empty. And I feel so socially awkward. And I'm like, I know so many people who have great projects who can't probably afford this conference, pastors in particular, or the registration. And I've got this empty bed. What if I start bringing them as my assistant so they can come in and get free tuition, free, and I can make introductions in the industry to help them advance. And then there's a roommate here to not waste that empty bed. And in networking that way, it's Bill Gates who taught me about the trilogy of trust. Have I talked to you about the trilogy of trust before? Oh, well, let me illustrate best how to do this. Oh, okay.
While you're doing that, time tithing, the whole concept, tithing on your time, 10% toward others, which is phenomenal.
And it's the best thing I've ever done. No manager, no nothing. Building relationships. This whole industry is about networking. I don't know anybody. I know one person who in the film industry who actually went to film school. The rest of them work on films. You know, that's where you get in and they building relationships and being good at your job. And then when those people go to other films, they're like, oh, you need to get Harry. He's a great sound guy. He's got a great work ethic, great personality, be a great person. That is how you get these jobs in this industry. Or as an actor, I know somebody who could do your novelization. It's that. It comes back to you reap what you sow. And so in positive, not always, some people are more social climbers into networkers. They'll just use your shoulders and forget all about you after you've helped them. That happens, and you can't take that personally. But I find that putting others first not only builds genuine friendships, but it builds the body of Christ.
Amen.
And
thank you. I love that.
That is the thing. Remember, we're all different ligaments. Some people are the arms, some people are the leg. But in this industry, we need to introduce those parts of the body to each other.
I love that.
The legs all hang out with the legs over in the book industry. That, you know, and it's just like finding out how to better build the kingdom. In fact, it was Rick Nahara. He was voted Hollywood's 50 most powerful people 20-something years ago. I was, my comedy partner and I were the only Christian comedy team chosen to be part of the big stinking comedy festival in Austin, Texas. So we were performing. Saturday Night Live was there, King of the Hill was there. Mad TV was really big back then. And Rick Nahara was there, and I took his classes, and he talked to me afterwards and said, you're always showing interest in people, and I think you've got a natural gift for networking. So let me give you a little insight. The same people that I started off with in Living Color, I'm working with all those same people today. Wow. You need to build relationships with people who are truly qualified, have it light on their resumes that you've vetted, and you learn that shorthand of communication with. Because when you're on a film set or something, and it's a new person, it takes a while to get into the motion. But once you get your crew together, you're going to want to go from project to project together. I mean, I'd much rather work with my friends, wouldn't you?
Oh, yes.
I think that's the way Clint Eastwood actually does it. His entire production company, like literally everybody is his close circle. This is the guy that does this on every single movie that he does.
I just read about that. Yeah,
I do the same thing. And I do it with my actor friends too. I always write specific roles for specific actors who I'm friends with, who I love to work with. But Rick said, he goes, because there's an ebb and flow to this industry. 1 week you're hot, 1 week you're not. You should never be too consumed with being on the top because you'll only be there for a little while. All you want to do is stay gainfully employed and keep food on your table. And that means you've got to remember, you're not just trying to build your empire with these people working with you, but you want to be a part of their empires too. because they'll be working on the next project, the next big thing, and you're going to be fading out, and they're going to be like, hey, let's keep you gainfully employed. We keep each other gainfully employed is what we do from project to project. And so his approach was build your own empire and be a part of others' empires too. And I thought about that and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting, but empires fade. Look at the Romans. I'd be much more interested in having an approach of I'm building God's kingdom.
There you go.
And making introductions that will build his kingdom and bring glory to him. And then that just puts all this fun in it for me.
Oh my goodness. That's the adventure,
and it takes the
right?
pressure off, as you said earlier. It completely
does,
takes
yes.
the pressure off of you.
Totally. And then here's just a little secret that a lot of people don't practice, but I'll tell you this because I learned this from Bill Gates. I did 2 comedy shows for Bill Gates, by the way.
Cool.
Not the nicest person, but I did them anyway. Okay, but he taught me about the trilogy of trust. And the trilogy of trust works like this. It usually takes 3 meetings to really connect with somebody before you actually make that friendship connection. It happens on the 3rd meeting. That's why I tell people when I go to conferences, you're going to need to come to this conference 3 years in a row to officially make the connections here. Because the first year it's like, hi, my name is Torry. The next year it's like, hey, weren't you here last year? And then the 3rd year it's like, Torry. And that's when you need to stop going to that conference and go to a different conference for 3 years. The only way to jump that 3-year rule is in a trilogy of trust. And that works like this. Where's my Batman?
This is so good.
Okay.
Love the Batwoman back there. Oh,
Batman.
Well, there's Batman.
And the guy.
Okay. Batman is good friends with Superman. And he is also good friends with Wonder Woman. But Wonder Woman doesn't know Superman. Superman doesn't know Wonder Woman, but they're both good friends with Batman. But Batman becomes aware of this big mystery case that is getting involved. 2 flying superheroes. There's going to be requirements. So he goes, Superman, I happen to have a friend named Wonder Woman, very attractive to look at. And she's got an invisible plane. I think, should she ever break down, you would be a great friend for her to have. And should you ever lose your flying ability, well, she could give you a ride. But I think the 2 of you should team up and work on this mystery together. And Superman, because he has such trust invested in Batman, he is going to attribute the same level of trust he has in Batman immediately to Wonder Woman. It is not going to take 3 meetings for Superman and Batman. And then he goes to Wonder Woman. So Diana, I've been thinking about this whole plane situation. It's invisible, but it's unreliable. And Superman, my friend Superman, he can fly. And your plane isn't going to take you to this other planet where the mystery is happening. You're going to need superpowered capabilities. So I'd like to introduce you to Superman. Would you be willing to meet him? Well, yes, I think I would. I would like that very much. Okay, let me do that. So then he introduces Wonder Woman, and she places, because she trusts Batman. She knows Batman. She knows Batman's not going to suggest someone who wouldn't be good. She places that trust in Batman immediately to Superman without 3 meetings, and they're off solving the case.
That's so cool. That is amazing. That's trilogy of trust right there.
The trilogy of trust. So when I take people like Adam to film conferences, and I know so many people on staff, I'm trilogy of trusting and causing him to jump past what it would take 3 times of chance meeting directly to people that he would like to meet. Dallas, this is my friend Adam Drake. He's the best first AD I've ever worked with. Adam, this is Dallas. Or I love doing that, to find somebody who I think is incredibly talented. I shouldn't be in this industry at all. I'm a hippie from a cabin with a D-level high school education, and that's it. But I always have to collaborate with other people smarter than me to help get my visions out there. So that's how that works. Why am I telling you about that?
That's awesome.
But it's just so unbelievable for me to be in this industry. And I think back on people like Paul McCusker from Odyssey, who saw me at that conference where I called Amy Grant, told her she was thinner in cardboard. He took an investment in me and an interest in me. And I didn't think anybody ever actually saw me, because I felt fat and invisible. And what he and Martha Bolton and Jeanette Cliff George did for me by investing in this permanent hippie from Alaska, I feel obligated to do for others, to build the kingdom with them, just like people made introductions for me. It's the paid up back.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome. Torry,
yeah.
I want to before we close here, because I want to have you back, because you're oh my goodness, I want to talk about Wooten, I want to talk about Adventures of Odyssey, I want to talk about so many things too. So let's do this. I would love to hear about now. This is kind of funny, a funny quick story as we wrap up. I was visiting my next door neighbor that I just moved here, and my neighbor Rich. And he says, I don't know if you're like I'm not into devotionals or something. I found something that was really funny and it's good. It's poignant, but it's like good stuff. He said, I said, well, that sounds good. So he says, well, I'll be right back and get you. So he comes back and he brings back this book called Of Moose and Men by Torry Martin. I said, you're not going to believe this, but Torry's my friend. He goes, no way. So anyway, that's my next door neighbor, and Torry got to meet Rich, which was like just
what a nice guy. What an encourager he
guy.
was. I met him at just the time that I needed.
Oh man, he loved meeting with you. It just made his day, him and Nancy, and just you made an impact on his life through the book and then through bringing here in person. But talk to me about the latest of Moose and Men, which I love this book. It is so good. It's about your adventures in Alaska, but tell me what's the latest with that?
Well, the latest is, and I don't know if I can.
Oh, if you can't talk about it, it's okay. You can kind of
announce specifically yet, but it's been a 4-year process of adapting it into an audio drama. Working on the contract right now, but
that is awesome.
Can you believe how long this contract is? There's a lot of big words in here. I'm like, do you have an entertainment attorney who looks over your stuff?
I should, but I do not. It'll be very good. I do have a service I use that looks over contracts.
Really? Well, share that
legal,
with me.
Yeah, it's called Legal something.
This is a different thing. By the way, I created this group, just talking to Network, I'll just mention, called the Navigators, where it's with other writers.
Yes.
There's only 9 of us that I trust and have a relationship, and their faith is real, and I love to. That there's a lot of corrupt businesses out there with really bad contracts, and you have to pay for a lawyer for everything. We share our contracts with each other, and we all have different advice on stuff. And so we'll be like, okay, so what do you think about working with this filmmaker? Are they reliable? Are this? And we share honestly. You'll need to protect yourself with the contract. Don't go in with oh, he's a Christian, I can trust him thing. Don't, because there's a lot of people in here who are Christians in name only. Some people it just means they're not Jewish. And we'll share contracts and get advice. And when there's a place that all of us don't understand this, we're like, okay, that's where you're gonna need to hire an entertainment attorney, and then come back and tell us what he said, so we know how to handle that. So
John, that
oh,
sorry, I was just gonna say that might be a good story chat episode later on, talking about IPs and kind of the legal really sides of storytelling. Maybe we can get a bit further on after our Adventures in Odyssey episode with Torry back here, just because there's a lot of pitfalls. I got a buddy writing a book right now who doesn't know anything, and when it comes to publishing, contracts, all that fun stuff, kind of got burned by his previous publishing company. So let us know. Shoot us an email at storychatwithjohn@gmail.com if you would like to hear that, because I think that might be a good episode for future use. So
yes, I'm done.
I love
talking about that.
No, that's great, Brian. Thank you, Torry. Let's have you back. There's so much more I want to talk with you. You're just like
I didn't even realize that it was over. I thought we were just starting.
You know what? We'll do part 2. Okay, we'll do the sequel.
Part two.
Part and the sequel. Okay, so
The Revengeance sequel. The Revengeance.
Check out Of Moose and Men. It's a wonderful book.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Torry, you are a blessing in many, many ways. Love you, man. We're gonna have you back. All right. Well, Brian, anything else to close us out?
Nope, that's it. Just shoot us if you're interested in that legal episode or any other episode topics, any questions at storychatwithjohn@gmail.com. Yeah.
Sounds great. Well, thank you. And thanks for being part of Story Chat. You guys are part of the show. I know you're watching or listening, but you're the reason why we do this. So we hope that something here has inspired you, encouraged you to keep writing and to network and remember others first. Love that.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Story Chat. If you want to hear more, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions for John or feedback on the show, please email us at storychatwithjohn@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.